Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. High-end Nvidia graphics cards are suffering from shortages, which is starting to affect the pricing. Now, currently the pricing is only becoming an issue in China. Worldwide, although there is a slight shortage, it's not really affecting the pricing at the moment because supply isn't necessarily falling that far behind demand. But in the Chinese region, as I've mentioned, the average price is starting to increase quite a bit. It's around 15% higher than normal, which obviously benefits Nvidia themselves, as well as Colorful, which are the largest sub-brand, or AIB, in China, as well as Galaxy, Asus, and other companies as well. So, the largest graphics card player in the world is Palette. They not only put out Palette graphics cards, but they also own a sub-brand as well, known as Galaxy. And they're shipping around 8 million graphics cards in this year, 2015. Whereas Asus Tech are hitting around 4.6 to 4.8 million. Gigabyte Technologies, as well as MSI, are in joint third place. They've managed to ship a rather impressive 3.2 million units each. What this is obviously a sign of is just how popular PC gaming is becoming. I've mentioned this before, a couple of months back actually. Back when the Xbox 360 was really hitting its stride, like the first 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years of its life, there was a period where PC gaming really was at the darkest of days. A lot of games just weren't coming out on PC, or when they were really, really bad ports. And honestly, it just felt like PC gaming was pretty much, I wouldn't say at the brink of existence, because that's way overplaying things, but it wasn't anywhere near as healthy as what it was, let's say, 3 or 4 years prior, or of course now. However, I think it's fair to say that PC gaming has definitely started to come on leaps and strides, and there are many different reasons why the sales of high-end graphics cards is starting to spur. 4K displays, virtual realities are certainly one of them, and you've also got highly competitive games, particularly in China and Asia as a whole, when you've got games like Dota, League of Legends, and these other games, which of course people are winning absolutely ludicrous prizes for, and they're extremely addictive as well. Not that you need, let's say, a dual Titan setup to be able to run those games, but that's not the point. Do remember that AMD themselves have been hit with shortages just a while back too, particularly with the Fury lineup of graphics cards. This wasn't just the fault of high demand, but AMD also had to deal with the fact that HBM memory, high bandwidth memory, was not exactly particularly easy to manufacture at the time. Let's face it, it was a new technology, and the actual refinement and the actual, I guess you could say, follow-through was not really where it was with, let's say, GDDR5. This is typical for any, of course, memory technology. Things are probably being further exacerbated by the fact that it is the holiday period. And typically, of course, that means when retailers are really doing the most trade possible. Whether it's people using the money they get for Christmas for buying their own graphics cards, whether it's, you know, their brother that's happened to buy Jimmy a new graphics card, or whether it's something just completely different, like, oh, you know what, I've booked 3 weeks off for Christmas, and I just want to enjoy some high-end gaming with all of the shinies that I've got, therefore I'm going to buy a new kick-ass rig. Obviously, the holiday period is when people do a lot of shopping. Now, it's kind of a weird position at the moment in the graphics card market. I've mentioned this a couple of times over, that I not necessarily believe that the purchase of high-end graphics cards at this point is a mistake, but it's kind of like, if you've got loads of money, then absolutely it's a good idea. But if you're on finite funds, and by finite funds I mean that you're on like a 12 to 18 month upgrade cycle, maybe even a 2-year upgrade cycle, personally, unless you're on something really bad at the moment, or your old graphics cards are broken, I would highly suggest that you just stick with what you've got, because of course we all know Arctic Islands is winging its way to us fairly soon, at least assuming that the reports are accurate. As I've mentioned previously, Reuters were reporting that the card should be out the second quarter at the latest, potentially early third quarter, which means that if people are plonking down, let's say 1,000 or 1,500 of your regional equivalent currency on, let's say, a dual 980 Ti setup, and once again you're on an 18-month or 24-month upgrade cycle, you might well be quite upset, because for the sake of argument, Pascal is going to be absolutely a monster. 16 gigabytes of high bandwidth memory too. We know that Arctic Islands, once again, is going to be an absolute monster. Same amount of memory bandwidth, roughly, as Pascal, and we know that it's got an absolute massive improvement over performance per watt as well. So yeah, it's just kind of an interesting transition at the moment, where of course we're waiting for the DirectX 12 games, we're waiting for all of these new cool technologies over the next couple of months. We know of course virtual reality is going to become a really big deal, and they're going to require high-end GPUs to really drive them, particularly for high-end customer devices. You know, if you really want to play with all of the bells and whistles at decent frame rates with, let's say, the Oculus Rift or the Vive or whatever it happens to be that you're using, or even if you decide, you know, I'm not actually ready for that, I want to go with like a 1440p 144Hz display, or you want like a 4K monitor, hell, even a 4K monitor trying to push the frames to that device at, let's say, 60 FPS, let's say that's what you're targeting. It's not easy, it requires quite a lot of GPU performance, so obviously that is spurring the high-end sales just a little bit. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video, I'll see you soon, take care, bye for now.